Hey guys, it's Kelsey and I'm back with another scrapbooking process video. This is my last layout with my mini kit from Redefined Kreative for my How to Kill Kit with Style this month. There is one more page coming up. I think it is on Thursday is the Mercy Tiara Inspirational Hop. So that is actually the first layout I made with this kit. So you'll see that later this week. This one is the last page I'll be making with this collection. So I'm back at that point where I have all my last bits and pieces and I'm trying to use as much of it on this page as possible. I'm also doing this for Mercy Tiara's Winter Inspiration Challenge. This one's called Once Upon a Time, a long time ago, and the point of this one is to tell a story. Sorry, there are birds and dogs because my windows are open and it is springtime in Georgia, so I'm sorry about all the background noise if you can hear that. But the story focus for this challenge is more of an earlier focus. It could be about anybody, but it really wanted to focus on the first time something happened, if someone graduated, first job, first flying, that kind of thing. Because I scrapbook chronologically, I didn't really have anything related to myself that really fit that category. But in Bennett's baby album, I did have a photo from his very first flight. So I decided to cover that for this challenge. I thought that was appropriate. The biggest thing with this challenge was they wanted a story focus and they wanted some journaling, so I'm going to make sure to include that. You can see here I have his plane ticket. His mom really wanted me to incorporate that somehow on this page, so you can see what I'm doing is I just use my scoreboard to score it and fold it to go in that little vellum envelope. I know sometimes with these tickets or that receipt type of material, sometimes those fade over time, so usually it's best to scan or take a picture of that and then print that and use it on a page. But I didn't really have that capability this time around, and I really wanted to incorporate the actual authentic ticket. So I'm hoping by having it stored in that little vellum envelope will make it last a little bit longer. But I didn't want to lay it out and have the full ticket out as a main part of the page, just because if it did fade over time, eventually there would just be this large block of receipt paper with no ink on it, and I'm hoping that by doing it and putting in this little vellum envelope, you can see his name, you can see it's a plane ticket, it has the to and the from airports on that, so I thought it was great if she wanted to look at the whole ticket, she could pull it out of that envelope if she felt like that, or if Bennett felt like that later on to see the whole ticket. So I really like that way of memorializing, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but keeping that little keepsake and that little bit from this story safe. And that's my last little vellum envelope, so I really wanted to use that on this page, so I thought that was a really cool way to do it. I got 3 of these little vellum envelope in this collection, and I really like that I used each of them in a different way. So this is how I'm going to use it on this page. But pretty much what I decided to do, I had one 12 by 12 left, so I'm using that as the background. That's a very soft periwinkle blue plaid. I had this piece of this yellow floral I gutted from that last page you saw. I'm using that as a large vertical column up the page. I have a few gutted strips from where I trimmed down this text print. You will see where that came from on Thursday. But I wanted to get those used as well, so I'm tucking those on either side of that yellow piece. And really the only paper I have left is this pink plaid. You will also see that on Thursday. But I figured I would use the other side of that page, which is this very nice multicolor floral, to map my photo. So that's where I'm starting. That's where this is kind of beginning design-wise. I definitely want to make sure to get this last postcard that came in this kit on here. So you can see me messing with that a lot. I'm thinking I might have it branching out to the left of that photo. I also have 4 branding strips left, and I really wanted to find a way to get some of those on here as well. So you can see where I pieced 3 of those together just to create this decorative horizontal strip or shelf. So everything I build off of that has something to kind of branch off of. You see me playing around with this sticker sheet here. I'm looking at that tan gingham that's on the top of that packaging. Because it's on sticker stock, because it is a sticker sheet, I'm thinking I can find a way to use that tan gingham of the packaging as a layer. So you'll see that come in later, but that's kind of what I was doing when I was trying to figure out how much of that I could show and figure out ways to cover up the text in the little hole where it hangs on the store hook. So you'll see that later. But what I was having a problem with was the branding strips are bordered in black. I could have cut the black off, but I decided to just embrace it. I like that it added a little bit of oomph because all these colors are very pastel-y. and are very light and airy, and I just wanted something to kind of ground them all, so I liked that black aspect, but it felt weird that those branding strips were the only thing that had black on them. So I'm doing what I did on a previous page and going around and inking all the edges in black just to bring that color somewhere else. And it really helps you see the edges and all the corners of these papers, and it helps them stand out against each other. So I'm just taking a moment to do that with all of my layers and then we will move on. This page does end up a little hodgepodgey, as a lot of my final layouts with the collection do, just because I'm trying to figure out ways to get all these leftovers on a page and make them make sense. So it's always a fun process, but I always end up with something I'm not expecting or something that I don't really consider my style because I'm trying to stretch myself, and I just love that process and what comes from it. So I love the way this page turns out, but it's definitely different and something I would not have made if it wasn't because I was just left with all of these things that I wanted to use up. So I'm pretty happy with how I had the design so far, so I'm going to go ahead and glue down what I already have and build up from there. I'm trying to remember what I do next. There we go. Gonna glue that down, and you can really see here the difference between the edges of all those paper layers from before versus now when they're inked. You can really see all the edges instead of all the papers kind of running together in this pastel-y, cloud. So I really like that. Here I am again with this vellum envelope. I'm really trying to figure out a way I can use this final postcard and this final vellum envelope. I definitely want them both on the page. It's just trying to figure out a way for them to go together in a way that makes sense. So I know my photo is going to go there, and I kind of like this idea, having this postcard as a big layer coming out from the side and kind of framing this vellum envelope and giving it a place to sit. It kind of draws your eye there and makes you look at it. Because the vellum itself is very subtle and doesn't really grab your attention. And I think having this postcard that already has this kind of corally frame already draws your attention there. And I really like how that grabs you, so you look at that vellum envelope and that you can see that it's a plane ticket in there. It just adds to the whole story. This photo, of course, is of Bennett. My sister, which is his mom, and our mom, which is his grandma, were in the seat in front of me, and then I got the seat behind them so that when he did this, I would be behind him and could play with him instead of him doing this to strangers and disrupting them. So we strategically planned this so that he could have, a stress-free of a first flight as possible. So that's kind of the gist of the story, and I'll talk about in the journaling how he did on his flight and our strategy to get him through this with the best outcome. But first, I definitely wanted to get another one of these decorative stamps on here. I thought that was really cool just because we got an envelope, we got a postcard. I thought it was cool to use a stamp, especially because we are flying. I thought that was somehow tied in and it was appropriate. So I got one of those on the photo. Here I just trimmed off this tan gingham from this packaging, and I'm pulling the backing off, and that is already sticker material. Like I said, that's sticker stock. So I'm going to create a little banner from this tan gingham running across the rest of these horizontal pieces just to add another little layer. And I thought that was really cool. I love when I can pull in packaging as an element. All of this is usable. It's not just the actual stickers on the sheet. If there's a pattern, especially on sticker stock, use it. Punch it, die cut it, use it as a layer. It's already sticker form and it's a printed pattern. So if it coordinates with the collection, that's always usable. So I'm going to get that on there as a little banner. And then you can see me playing with some other stickers. I'm down to the end of this sticker sheet. Everything that's left is really hard for me to use. So I was trying to figure out what I could layer together on this sticker sheet to make something that I would use. So I have this little scallopy circle that says "and" on it. I don't really know how to use it in a way where the "and" is appropriate or makes sense. So I decided to layer the little date sticker over the word, so you get the detail of this black scallopy circle behind this other sticker, but you're not distracted by the word because I just covered it up. So I ended up writing the date on that and layering that over the decorative stamp that's on the photo. I like what that adds. Now I'm just trying to come up with a way to fill out and finish this page. I used all the embellishment other than these stickers that are left on the sticker sheet. I don't have anything left. So I'm trying to figure out other things I can pull in that were not in this collection to beef it out a little bit, just because it's the last page. I'm trying to use as much as I can, but I don't have a whole lot of big stuff left to fill it out with. When it gets to that point, my go-to thing is to pull in a doily, pull in a tag, pull in a glassine bag. They're always really versatile and can go on almost any page. So if you have a gap or it just seems like your page is too plain, this is a really easy way to layer up some interest. You get 3 really nice different details that also don't draw the eye in a distracting way. So that's what I just did there, and you can see how much layering and texture and interest that adds, and it's a very easy thing to do, and you can do that on almost any page. I did go back and ink the tag just so that tied in with the rest of the paper layers. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there though, and now I'm doing my title. Again, I'm going with these white, I still don't know how to describe them. You can see it really well in the close-ups, but they look white, right? And then in the different light, they just have this rainbow sheen on them, and I just think they're the coolest things ever. I've used these so much this month. I've gotten so many words and so many titles off of this thicker sheet, and look how many are left. It is ridiculous. So this is just the thicker sheet that keeps on giving. So I'm just gonna call this my first flight. And it's just nice. I keep having to, like, I have a habit, and I think most of us do, when we need to do a title, to grab your thicker set, and the first thing you do is just make sure you have all the letters for it. And it's just so nice. This whole month I haven't had to worry about it because there's so many letters that come on those thicker sheets. I just haven't ran out yet. So got that title down, and now, because I'm looking for more embellishment, but I pretty much used all of what was in this collection, I decided to bring in my mind's eye Gingham Farms. I mentioned this in the first, I think it was probably just the kit share, that Gingham Gardens is my mind's eye's basically volume 2 of Gingham Farms. So I used Gingham Farms last year for my mind's eye, so if you like this collection, make sure you check out that playlist from How to Kill a Kit with Style from last year. But these are all my leftovers from that collection. And I decided, you know what, I need some embellishment to go with Gingham Gardens. I have some Gingham Farms left over, so I'm going to pull that in and use that as my embellishment. And it goes so good together. I'm kind of mad at myself that I didn't do this earlier. If you have any Gingham Farms left over from last year, that's just kind of their stragglers, or you don't know how to use them, get some Gingham Gardens. It goes together so nicely, and as you can probably see from all these scraps, Gingham Farms is very monochromatic. There's a few subtle greens and blues, but for the most part it's this black and cream. So using this with Gingham Gardens that does introduce all these colors, it just goes so nice together, and they complement each other so nicely. So as you can see, I pulled in this pocket card that came in the ephemera pack from Gingham Farms. That is the map of the United States. Thought that was super appropriate. Again, we are flying from Georgia to Minnesota for our family reunion in this photo. So I did just use a little geotag from the planner sticker sheet. I put one of the geotags where Atlanta is and another one in Minnesota where we landed, so you could kind of see the takeoff and landing points from this flight. So I like what that added. I like that it added a little bit more black. I'm getting this final scrap of gingham, which is my only piece of pattern paper from Gingham Farms that was left over. I'm using that as a layer up there by that pocket card. And then I did get a gingham bow sticker used up to close that vellum envelope, as well as another little word sticker that says going places off the planner sheet. I thought that was all appropriate, and I really like how I pulled in that black gingham around the page, and it kind of pulls that black in a little more to tone down that it's so pastel-y. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my journaling. So I'm using my washi technique again. I discovered this on a past layout, and it has been my best friend. I'm going to be doing this a whole lot more. So basically, I'm just using washi to line up, and it's just keeping me from having to draw in lines and making sure my journaling is straight, and it's been the best little tool for me, and I don't know why I haven't done this sooner, but I'm doing my journaling. I didn't have to do lines, and they turned out straight, and it's just amazing. So I'll read my journaling really quick. It just says, "You did so good for your first flight ever. Mommy had a bottle ready for you when the plane took off to help you get through the worst part. of Takeoff, which was the pressure change. You were a little fussy in the beginning because you saw your bottle before it was time for you to have it, but I lost my place. But as soon as you got it, you were great. Aunt Kelsey sat behind you so she could play with you too, but you ended up sleeping for most of the flight, and then you woke up in Minnesota. So that's my story. That is for the Mercy Tiara Once Upon a Time, long time ago challenge. If you want to play with them, I'll link them in the description. Again, this mini kit, that's Gingham Gardens, I got from Redefined Kreative. I'm guest designing for them this month, and I'm using it. I think I got 4 layouts out of it, and there were 6 papers in the original kit, so stay tuned for the end of the month. I'll show you everything I ended up making with it, as well as everything that's left over. There are a few things from this collection, such as this massive thicker sheet that I'm getting on other pages as well, so I might show you that at the end of the month as well. But here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will link Redefined Kreative, the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, and Mercy Tiara's group in the description if you want to play along or look into any of the things that I mentioned. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.